Karissa, can we please have a one-word prompt?
Dolls.
All right, here we go. 3, 2.
They're called action figures. I don't have dolls. I have action figures.
Not in this movie.
Who's giving away life-size dolls? What church is this? That's a lot of money. Those things are expensive.
Yeah, I need me some dolls.
Is that where the donation money's going to?
Maybe. Hold on one second. Hey, welcome to the Overtalking Podcast with your hosts, Ken and CJ. Say hi, CJ.
Hi, CJ.
This is the show where we talk over TV shows and movies as chosen by our guests. And this week, I highly suggested we talk about Longlegs.
Oh, so the guest didn't pick the movie, huh, Ken? How the
Karissa
tables have
asked
turned.
what we wanted to do. And I think last time we were on, we talked about maybe doing this. Keeping the Nicolas Cage train running here.
Just breaking the form of the show, choosing the movies.
Oh, yeah. I'm the one who started this. Look, I think we've talked about almost every single Nic Cage movie in recent memory, except for Arcadian, which I watched recently. It was actually pretty good.
Oh, okay.
But maybe too spooky for CJ. But
and this wasn't?
I guess we'll find out, but maybe let's bring on our guest.
She's basically the third co-host of the show at this point. It's Karissa.
Hi guys. Thanks for having me back.
Pleasure.
It feels like I was just here, and I'm so happy to be back so soon. This is great.
We love having you.
Yeah.
I love being here, and I love talking about Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
There is one that comes to mind that I haven't seen yet, which is, and I don't know what it's called. It's called something like the
really long, massive talent.
The unbearable weight of massive talent. Is that
Yeah.
what it's called?
Oh,
Yes.
I haven't seen that one
Okay,
either.
I
It's
haven't
good.
seen that one yet. That's what I've heard. I'm
Okay.
really excited to see it. CJ, what genre is it?
That's a great question. Action comedy?
Okay.
But
Okay.
it's Nic Cage playing Nic Cage.
Right. That's
gets,
why I'm
like-
fascinated by it.
One of the main characters is obsessed with Nic Cage, and so he gets to just like play a version of himself. Like,
That's
I
awesome.
feel like that's so cool. And he gets accused of, I feel like, doing that in all of his films, just kind of like being him and being wild. And so it's cool that he like gets permission in this one to just go in that direction.
I remember it being a really fun movie. It's a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. Yeah, that's one that I haven't seen yet. But yeah, I feel like the others I've seen and they were all bangers.
I know. We could spend, if we just switched to doing only Nic Cage movies on the show, we would still have like 10 years worth of material.
Plenty of material there. I'm sure this whole podcast dedicated to just Nicolas Cage.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. That's got to be out there.
The Cage Cast or something like that.
Cage Cast.
That's got to be it, right?
Yeah,
That's good.
it.
That's
Could it
really
be?
good. If that doesn't exist, you should do that.
There we go. Spin-off show. We're all doing it.
Yep, it exists. Confirmed.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Of course it does.
Yeah.
CJ, when did you watch this?
Today.
And how did you watch it?
On a
Through your
computer.
Okay, how fast did
And
you
what
watch
speed did you watch? Yes.
Well, unrelated, did you know Plex now has a playback speed option? They finally implemented that you can increase the playback speed?
I do not. I cannot. I just can't imagine watching a movie fast. I will say, I listen to audiobooks fast, but even that, I can only do like 1.5 speed. I can't do any faster than that.
That's my limit too.
I want to be able to understand what they're saying. I want them to sound like human beings. And God forbid I try to enjoy my media consumption instead of just trying to
needs it?
cram as much in as possible.
I am guilty of doing this too, but only for movies that I know I'm not going to like, which I can only assume is where CJ's coming from at the very beginning of this.
That is fair. That is fair. And I have to remember that you all put out one of these episodes every week. So you're consuming a lot more content than I am and a lot of variety of content. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have homework every week.
Exactly.
Yeah. And guests typically choose movies which are long and
Yes.
I don't know.
Compared to TV shows where you have to watch an entire season in one day, like Eric did last week for the TV show that he covered, which I won't spoil because it hasn't been released yet.
I'm pretty sure that'll come out next week. And also, he did that to himself. That thing was booked like 2 months in advance.
He did.
He
had
definitely
lots
did
of
not
time.
have to do that.
He had lots of time. He got up really early that morning and watched like 9 episodes.
That's
Oh my God.
And
a
then
terrible day.
Stumbled off the couch right out the door to record the pod.
Wow. Well, at
That
least it
sounds
was
like
fresh.
an awful day.
You want
It was
to
fresh.
clue the listeners in on what they can expect next week?
Next week, season 3 of The Bear.
The bear.
But Ken and I took off a week. We
both
needed a break.
Couldn't
Yeah, we
make
weren't
it,
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that. We had coverage. It was fine. It all worked out.
Yeah, it was no
We
big
always
deal.
gotta
Although,
back up.
yeah, I'm a little disappointed that as the third host of this show, I wasn't tapped to help cover that. But
That's
I
true.
understand. You had coverage in other places. I understand.
And we respect your time,
Wow. Thank you.
which is why we're having you on like 3 months in a row.
Right. And next month will be October, and
So you
we're-
know I'm
spoiler
coming
alert, you're gonna be on
back.
that. Yeah.
You know I'm coming back.
Speaking of like horror stuff, do you want to share what you have going on?
I would love to share what I have going on because when you were talking about having homework to do every week, I was reflecting on the new homework that I now have. It's not every week, but every 2 weeks. And by that, I mean usually on the day that I put it out is when I'm doing it. I have started putting together a little horror newsletter. Ken and I were talking before we started recording about what I'm calling it. It's not really like a traditional newsletter, but I don't want to label it because then I'm boxing myself in. I want to give myself the freedom to play with form a little bit.
Yes.
Maybe forever, or maybe I'll find a form that I really love and I'll go in that direction.
Yeah, we wouldn't know anything about boxing into a specific form that we regret years later.
Never. No, absolutely
I think
not.
we break out of it. Stay tuned next episode.
But yeah, I've been writing a little horror-centric newsletter. I'm calling it Horror Corner, and I know that Horror Corner is hard to say. That is the point. It's hearkening back to the Rural Juror for
30
fans
Rock.
of 30 Rock.
And I have a screener of the movie for you. I want you to watch it.
Ah, the Rural Juror. That is something.
Yeah, I like to write. I think of myself as a writer, but oftentimes I put a lot of pressure on myself if I'm writing to create something masterful. And I wanted an opportunity to just write some bullshit. So this is me writing some bullshit. It is a topic that I love. Horror movies, although I might branch into other areas of horror eventually. But yeah, it's been so fun. I just feel like I've seen a bunch of shit and I just want to talk about it because a lot of the people that I know don't watch the same type of shit that I do.
I can say, personally, I definitely do not watch the same type of shit that you do, but I really enjoy reading about it because it's a way for me, a coward, to live vicariously through you. And you have good takes on the movies, so I actually get like a feel for like, oh, these movies that everyone's talking about that I will never watch, except for this one, I guess. But I get a feel for what they're like.
Oh,
And I do watch this stuff, and I think it's very insightful and well written. And the comment sections are usually popping off with some other good stuff. So I enjoy it. It's very good.
I really appreciate your support, both of you. I have had so much fun doing it. You can find it at, I believe it's horrorcorner.substack.com. Or follow me on Instagram, and I usually do a little post when I release a new one. You can sign up for the mailing list, and it'll go directly to your inbox. So lots of ways to read. And I'd love for you to tell me what you think about those movies, because it's only as fun as the interaction that follows.
Where can people find you on Instagram?
At RisCon, the word double and the word you. I did copy CJ, but that is where you can find me on Instagram.
Who copied Eric?
Who copied Eric?
Nice. Well, speaking of long legs, we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back on the Overtalking Podcast.
A letter was left with the bodies. We have 10 letters like it over the past 30 years, and all of them signed with one word: Longlegs.
He'll kill. And kill again.
And we're back on the Overtalking Podcast, joined once again by Karissa, and we're talking about Longlegs. Karissa, we're going to put 30 seconds on the clock for you to describe for someone who's not yet seen Longlegs without the ending what it's all about.
Ready, go.
All right. We've got a small child who meets a stranger, and then flash forward. That little girl's an adult now and is an FBI agent. She's a little off, but we love her.
10 seconds.
There is a spooky case that she needs to solve, and she does a good job.
2, 1.
How do you? I can't not. I mean, how do you describe it without spoiling it?
You spoiled that the little girl was the FBI agent, but then I gave no other details.
Oh no!
No, totally fine.
Yeah. I think that was.
There are several little girls in the movie.
Sure.
We don't know which one is. We don't know which one becomes the FBI agent.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Ken's face as soon as I said I wouldn't spoil it, and then I immediately disappointed him. I'm so sorry.
I don't think that's even really that big of a spoiler anyway.
No, that's fine.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't spoil the big parts.
No.
Not at all.
No. I hardly said anything about it at all.
Well, you know what? If you had drank a little drink that CJ and I have been drinking, you might have done a little bit better. I don't know.
Probably would have done a much better job if you've been drinking Magic Mind.
Oh, what?
The mental performance shot.
CJ, you probably heard us talk about this before, and I think the first time we talked about it, at least this time around, was with Karissa, so she's familiar too. CJ and I have been drinking Magic Mind for, I don't know, a while now, and it's really been helping me in my personal and work life stay more focused and not get jittery with caffeine.
Yeah, incorporated into my morning routine, so because I'm a huge caffeine addict, still have my morning coffee, but this complements that. So I still have a cup of coffee or 2 or maybe 3, and then I have some of this, and I'm not jittery or anything. Just gets your brain going.
I'm going to go off on a slight tangent, but not too far. I drink coffee in the morning as well, along with this, but I always forget that I have a cup of coffee. So I let it sit on my desk. I even have one of those Ember mugs that keep it warm, and it does a great job, but I just forget about it. And so having this little shot and taking that really quick makes sure I get what I need to get going in the morning.
It's got all the good stuff for you, like adaptogens and nootropics. It's got lion's mane, matcha, turmeric, all good stuff.
Yeah, listeners of our show can get 20% off for both one-time purchases and up to 48% off if they choose a subscription if they use our code OvertalkingPod20 at checkout. That's OvertalkingPod20.
Or by going to magicmind.com/overtalkingpod20, or the link is in the show notes.
Listeners, this is the best way to support our show right now, so go check it out. We both really enjoy it, honestly.
See, Chris, if you just had some of that, I think it would have been spoiler-free. You would have nailed it.
Listen,
Probably would have tossed in the hilarity ensues.
I am a caffeine addict. I am pushing 4 cups a day right now.
Whoa.
And my colleagues at work do shame me every time they see me walk back to the Keurig. So I definitely need to jump on the Magic Mind train because your girl is jittery.
Dang, yeah.
I've been slowly trying to fill my kettle less and less over the course of weeks to try to slowly cut down.
Just slowly taper off the caffeine.
Yeah, because I know I will be so miserable if I go cold turkey.
Yes, yeah. I need to start down that road. I do get a headache if I don't have my coffee. And you know what? Who else has headaches? Some of the characters in this movie.
Yeah, that's
Longlegs
right.
has a real big headache.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing it back. Yeah, I mean, a real big headache. That's pretty good.
Spoilers.
Something else that goes on in their head too, which is again a spoiler, but not really, is the FBI agent is just a little bit psychic.
Just a little psychic.
Yeah, that was interesting. They kind of toss that in there, but don't really explain it. But then it's
Well,
It kind of gets an explanation towards the end.
yeah.
It gets an explanation, all right.
Yeah.
I in some ways wish they would have shown and not told, but
I agree.
we
that.
we get an explanation.
But yeah, I thought it was very interesting that like her boss at the FBI is just like, so what's the deal? You're like psychic or something? It's like, oh yeah, this is a thing that people have and do. And yeah.
Yeah.
Look, as far as we know, in the FBI, this is somewhat commonplace. So
Hey,
we just don't hear about it.
that's right. I mean, I feel like psychics would kind of self-select into that career path. It would be a good role for someone who can just kind of like look at a house from the outside and say the killer's in there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Her partner didn't believe her. And then look what
I-
happened to him.
And I got a real bad headache. Yeah.
And he got a real bad headache. I wanted to talk to you both about the marketing for this film. Did you watch the trailer? Because I know some people will not watch a trailer. Okay. So neither
Yes,
of
we
you
both
saw
we
the
both-
trailer.
I avoid trailers. I look
yeah.
away when I'm in the theater.
I-
I do not watch them.
Interesting.
It's so bad.
Oh,
I
that's
will
so
look
funny.
down. Yeah.
I did not know you also do that. That's
Oh yeah.
hilarious.
I didn't know
yeah.
you did that either. That's
Yeah.
great.
I
Yeah.
love
down at the
trailers.
They're
floor.
terrible. They spoil everything.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes
Especially
they
horror
spoil
movies.
everything. Sometimes they just give you a little taste and they make you want more, which is, I think, what happened with this film for the folks who
Okay.
did see the trailer. Have you since gone back and watched any of the marketing?
No, I've seen the movie.
Wow. Okay. So,
Yeah, exactly. Why would I do that? I've seen the content. What
oh my gosh, the marketing was.
is there something new in it?
It was exceptional. I mean, it was very much hearkening back to some other really effective and memorable marketing strategies in the genre of horror, such as the Paranormal Activity number one, the very first one. CJ, are you familiar with that trailer at all?
Yeah, the audience reaction shots where like they're seeing it.
Yeah. So we're kind of hearkening back to that. Can I tell you about the trailer now that you've
Yes.
seen the movie?
Please. Yeah.
So in the trailer, they tell us that the actor who plays our star, our FBI agent, she didn't see Nicolas Cage in his in character until she filmed the one scene that she has with him. She didn't know anything about the character, anything about what he was going to do with it, anything about how he was going to look. And she enters the room with a heart rate monitor. And in the trailer, they show her heart rate. I think it hits like 180 or something. She's in this room with him, and her heart is racing. She is hitting maximum heart rate. She is exceeding zone 3. She is really scared. And I think that's what got a lot of people in the theater, honestly, because it made it seem like it was going to be scary.
Yeah.
Did they show Daddy Longlegs?
No,
Or,
we
Okay,
didn't
good.
see him. We just saw, it was even like a blank, it was like a black screen with text that said, here's what's going on.
Okay.
And then we see
Good.
her and we see the heart rate. And yeah, I think it got a lot of people excited about this movie.
I had read about that in like only articles. I didn't realize I was in the trailer though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It was really effective. So much so that I didn't even see it. I heard about it and it got me excited about it. And I think it also maybe has had an impact on how it's been received. That's all I'll say. I'll return to
That's-
that comment later.
Yeah. Okay. I have thoughts on I think where you're going as well.
Yeah.
But we'll put a pin in that.
Yeah. CJ, as someone who is not a horror fan necessarily, tell me about your expectations going. What was that?
Oh,
Did you
what do you
hear
mean?
that?
I didn't hear anything.
CJ, tell me about your expectations going into this movie.
Well, given that I am an avid reader of Horror Corner, I read about Longlegs
Oh, okay.
through you. But
Yes.
it was spoiler free, to give Karissa credit, which I guess now appreciated. At the time, I don't think I would have cared but so yeah, I knew it was going to be creepy, but then also both of you, I think even separately, have said like, no, it's more of like a psychological thriller. I wouldn't even say it's really like a horror movie. It's like, okay, maybe then I can handle it. I don't know that I had much expectation though, other than like, yeah, I knew you weren't really gonna see Nic Cage. Like that was going to be a reveal at one point in the movie. But yeah, I'm with the actress. My heart rate sure was up a lot of the movie. It is just like, I just feel on edge the entire time.
Definitely. I think that it was really, really good at creating like a vibe. Really effective in setting a tone. I think we've already kind of said this, but we don't see Nicolas Cage in character for most of the movie, and that anticipation certainly builds this whole kind of anxiety around the moment that we ultimately do see him. But there's a lot of cool editing that's happening too. It's like quick shots of like snakes and stuff, and it's like snakes are not a part of this story. Spoiler. There are no snakes, but there are these like quick like shots of snakes and other creepy shit that like really sets an interesting tone throughout the whole thing.
It's that like subliminal messaging tactic where they just like quickly cut to something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am going to spoil something, but it happens in the first like 5 minutes of the movie, so I don't think it's that big a spoiler. So the FBI agent and their partner go out on a manhunt. Her psychic power says he's in there, and the guy's like, what are you talking about? Like, we're not. She's like, we should call it in. He's in there for sure. And it's like, we're not gonna call it in. We have to go check. And so the partner agent, the guy, goes up to the door, but we only see the shot of her. So it's just like a reaction shot of the main character, her reaction, and then you hear him knock on the door. They answer it. And then you hear a gunshot. And then it's just like, again, like only her view really for the most part, which I thought that was very interesting to like hide sort of what I would say like the main focal point of the action of what's going on to just be in the mind of this character the entire movie.
Yeah. And once again, hiding the kind of like the traditional horror elements, which makes it less scary for sure. Like we don't see a lot of the scary things on screen. It's more like scary vibe. We know scary things are happening, but we may or may not be seeing them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I wonder what the thought process was for the director to do that. I wonder if they were thinking, if we don't show it, is that scarier?
Yeah,
kind of like when you're reading a book, you can sometimes be more scared because of what's in your head can out top whatever you're actually seeing.
Yeah.
Or was it, just a stylistic choice? I don't know.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it is very much like a thriller. It's paced like a thriller. There aren't very many horror elements just in general. Lots of tension, but I was not scared by this movie. In fact, like halfway through, I was like, okay, this isn't a horror movie like I was told.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get into it a little bit. Yeah. I mean, this was marketed outside of the trailer as like, the scariest movie of the year.
Yeah.
Longlegs. Don't see it alone. Like it too scary. But no, it's not really scary. And this is always the problem that we have with horror movies nowadays, is that everything has to be marketed as the scariest thing ever, even when that's not necessarily what the movie is, because they don't have any other way to convey what it's going to be or attract an audience, and it kind of undercuts kind of some of the beauty of the movie when you go into it and you're not expecting, or you are expecting one thing and you receive something else.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about earlier. Is like, if you saw that trailer where her heart rate is through the roof and you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be the scariest movie I've ever seen, and then you go to the theater and you watch this and you're like, oh, all right, well, it's not like a 12 out of 10 like I was expecting it to be, so now I'm disappointed. Right. Even though it was very good and I enjoyed it a lot, not to get ahead of myself, but yeah, I think it let people down in some ways.
Which is why you look at the floor when you're in the movie theaters and the trailers. You go, la, 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 la.
That's why you go in with no expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the hard thing to do, too, because even if you don't see the trailer, like we did, I read, like, horror news, and I see, like, there are reviews of this, and for some reason, the initial reviews, like the snippets, are like super scary or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's just not the case. I think, CJ, you and I and Danny maybe 2 years ago, watched *Malignant*, and we had the same issue with that movie where that's a campy, supposed to be fun, kind of weird romp of a movie.
It's a romp.
Instead, that was also marketed as like the scariest fucking thing ever, and that wasn't.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, I remember listening to that episode. I know exactly where I was when I was listening to that episode, and I was so sad that you guys didn't enjoy it because I really loved it. But you're right. It's not scary at all. It's hilarious. I was laughing out loud at that movie.
I definitely, now that I've had space, I want to revisit it under a different light because now I've forgotten things that happened. And I think it would be fun to watch maybe with a crowd who understands it too.
Totally, yeah.
But yeah, that's just not the experience I had at the time.
No. Well, I want to talk about the viewing experience that I had watching this movie.
Okay.
I remember fondly, I got a text from friend of the pod, Steve.
The two man.
And Steve said that he wanted to go see Longlegs. And I was shocked because Steve is not really like a horror movie guy.
He's not really a movie
only
guy.
Watched Fast and Furious
he's never
movies
seen
and
any
Expendable
movie.
movies.
Right. He's not a movie guy, really. So it was shocking to me that he wanted to see this film. But we know from experience that Steve is only afraid of one thing, and that is dolls. And we thought there's no way that, you guys didn't see the trailer, but we all saw the trailer. There are no dolls in this movie. We're going to be fine. Well, it's time to maybe break out some spoilers, folks, because guess what plays an enormous role in this film? Dolls.
Huge dolls.
Life-size dolls for some reason.
Yes.
It was hilarious.
Was Steve okay?
Steve was seated between us. He was in the middle. And I think we both turned and looked at him, and he was like, God damn it. But no, as we already discussed, it wasn't scary. So we all survived, but it was hilarious. All of us realizing in this moment together that the one thing that we didn't want or expect from this film was going to be a central component to our experience. Yeah, it was amazing. That was the highlight of this movie for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That also, like, if you had stopped me midway through the movie and be like, hey, how do you think this is going to go? I never would in a million years have been like, well, life-size dolls for sure are going to play a big part in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously.
Right.
And weird, like, metal balls for brains.
Yeah, I have so many. I'm really ready to spoil this. I will hold back, but I have some thoughts.
I also would like to talk about the ending. I'm not sure what the best point to do that is. Maybe let's save it for after our ratings.
Let's save it for after.
Okay.
And then we'll just spoil the shit out of it.
Yeah. What are some other spoiler-free things that we can discuss?
Well, we can talk about maybe a little bit of trivia. I don't know.
We could do that.
It's time for... Hey, did you know that? That's right. Like I mentioned, this is the trivia portion of our program where we pit our guests and CJ head-to-head to see who knows the most about what we watch. Karissa, CJ, are you two ready?
I'm so ready. CJ.
No, wrong movie.
CJ.
Oh, sorry.
All right. First question is multiple choice. Director Oz Perkins only thought of 2 people to play Daddy Longlegs. Nicolas Cage and what other actor? Was it A, J.K. Simmons, B, Willem Dafoe, C, Bryan Cranston, or D, Brad Pitt?
Oh my.
Well, I don't know who that first guy is.
You don't know who J.K. Simmons is?
J.K. Simmons?
No, I don't
He's
know who
Jack
that
now.
is. That doesn't help me.
No, that doesn't help. He plays J. Jonah Jameson in the Spider-Man movies.
That was going to be my
No.
reference as well. Which
He was in
what
what was the drum movie with
Whiplash.
No.
Whiplash?
Nope.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Nope.
I'm sure if you saw a picture, you'd...
I'm sure I would. I'm going to go with B because I hope that it was Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, that's where my mind went as well. Brad Pitt would have been hilarious.
Sure would have, because that's who he wanted.
No.
No way.
No.
Yeah.
Has he ever been
According
in
to
a horror
IMDb
movie?
trivia, I don't know.
I don't think so.
No.
No. Well, he was in Cutting Class when that was his first role.
Okay.
But he was 17 at the time or something. But
That does not.
yeah,
that does
I don't know.
not
That'd be
work for
wild.
me. That does not work for me.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would have worked.
Willem Dafoe would have been also incredible, I think. But yeah.
I tried to pick everyone who I thought would
Yeah.
be good choices.
Yeah.
He has
And
such
then
a
put
scary
Brad Pitt in.
face. He is I love him. He's like hot scary. But he's like scary for sure. Did you know his name isn't Willem? It's actually William, but he goes by Willem. Doesn't that make you hate him a little bit?
Yeah, just a little bit.
But I do love him, and he's great. If you've never seen all of the excellent photography of Willem Dafoe from like the 90s, you got to Google it right now. He's been in some wild photo shoot.
Huh. Okay.
I guess I just chalk that up to like so many people having to change their name for like SAG reasons. Where they have to kind of, they're just like, well, somebody else already is that name.
Sure.
They're
Like
oh,
Emma Stone.
okay.
Her name's like Emily or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, off to a bad start. Next question. Oz Perkins is the son, he's the director. Oz Perkins is the son of what famous actor who notoriously played the same serial killer across 4 movies?
Oh my gosh.
Can either of you get this?
Anthony Perkins.
That is
Psycho.
correct. Holy cow,
That's
CJ got
really
it.
amazing, CJ. I was
Wait, how'd
not
you
going
know?
to get that.
I said he was in Psycho, right?
Yeah.
Anthony
Yeah.
Perkins.
Oh, have you seen Psycho?
How do you even know who Anthony Perkins is?
How do you even know what Psycho is?
I went on IMDb to see what other twisted things this guy had done.
Oh, so you cheated. Oh, so you prepared
So, yeah, you
for
cheated.
the trivia.
It's like his first sentence on his IMDb page is like,
you
son
cheated.
of.
People also search for Anthony Perkins. Karissa, have you seen any of his other works, like Blackcoat's Daughter or Gretel and Hansel?
I'm sure that I have, but I don't know what else he's done. I did watch The Blackcoat's Daughter, although I don't really remember it at all. I
that
remember
one has
it
some
being a
pretty
little
similar
spooky.
themes to this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked Blackcoat's Daughter.
Yeah, I liked that one.
I thought anyway, we'll save that for another episode. All right, next question. This movie had a budget of less than $10 million. How long did it take, once released, to make that back?
2 days.
Yeah, I was going to say like the weekend,
Opening
box office weekend.
Yeah, but I'm going to be specific and say 2 days.
Okay, and then CJ, how many days, I guess?
All right, I'm going to go with a weekend.
Is that 2 days?
I'll say 3 days. You're counting Friday night, I guess.
All right. Chris is closer. It was the opening day they made that.
Wow,
Dang.
that's amazing. Yeah. Again, speaks to the marketing. I think they did an excellent
For
job
sure.
marketing.
Yeah.
Wish they could follow through a little bit.
That also seems like a decently low budget for like a bigger movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Next question. I think it's tied up. In what year is this film set?
Oh, wow. Do they say it in the movie?
Apparently.
I know
there
I
are
have
clues, so at least you can get close.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's clues, but I don't know if they ever said an exact year.
I'm thinking about she's calling from like I don't know if it's a payphone. She's like calling from a phone in the basement. I'm trying to visualize what that phone looked like. That's gonna give me all the details I need.
Oh, they did map out like the birthday killings.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah,
So I wonder if that gave a clue.
Went back.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna say that it is 2010.
I was gonna say 1999.
Yeah, CJ's closer.
What is it?
There was like a frame photo of Bill Clinton.
That's right. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I forgot about that. We were cracking up at the Bill Clinton framed photo. Like a large portrait of Bill Clinton on the wall. Yes. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot about that. That's so funny.
I figured it was there specifically to tell you what
to place
era.
it in time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Apparently 1995 is the correct answer.
Okay.
But all right, next question. How many times can the devil be seen in this movie?
Oh, that's difficult.
I will explain a little bit. There are like either subliminal shots or like really, really quick like background images. But yes, apparently there is a set number of times that the devil can be seen in this movie.
Okay, I'm gonna guess 6. That sounds like a devil number to me.
I was gonna go 7, because I don't think it's that many.
CJ's closer. 10 times apparently.
10.
I have a whole list. We don't need to go through it, but a couple of the times are when Harker is shooting on the floor or is sitting on the floor reviewing case files. Apparently, you can be seen then. I don't know when.
Huh.
One of the times I did catch was when Harker's like leaving her childhood bedroom and like closed the door. That was one of the more obvious ones. Yeah.
I noticed it a couple of times. I remember there being like dark shadows, but it's that type of thing that you just catch it right before they pan away or
Right.
right before they cut away. And so I would have benefited from a rewatch. In fact, when I rewatch this, because I've still only seen it the one time, I think it'll be much more clear, like all of the different places that it pops up.
Yeah, that I only like in my mind was like catching the shadows. I don't think I even remember the subliminal stuff.
All right. Next question. True or false? Neon offered free tickets to this movie for those with birthdays that fall on the 14th of any month.
I'm going to say true.
That seems cool, but also like too many people, so I'm gonna say false.
It is true, and it only happened after Meg and I saw it.
No.
And Meg's birthday is on the 14th, so
Devastating.
yeah.
Oh yeah, back to that marketing. They knew what they were doing. That marketing strategy team, man, they crushed.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, how we doing on points?
If I'm correct, I'm up
CJ's
3-2.
Yep.
Okay, we'll see how this goes. It's time for the Rotten Tomatoes Tomato Meter score in percentage, closest without going over. Hopefully CJ didn't see that when he was Googling earlier.
Did not.
CJ, since you're in the lead, you will go first to give the edge to Karissa.
Oh man, this is really not my ballpark. I have no idea how horror movies are rated. But given how the praise of it and that it made its money back and stuff like that, I think it's been highly regarded. So I will say 82.
Okay,
Oh,
Karissa?
that's a really good guess.
Thank you.
That's a really good guess. Back to the marketing. I'm not going to shut up about it. I feel like it originally debuted with like a 100%, or they claimed that it did, which is again why I was expecting a lot scarier. But it has gone down since then. I'm going to say 75.
CJ's our winner, 86%.
It did not drop as much as I thought it did. I thought it was like tanking from that 100%, like all downhill from there.
No.
But it sounds like it's still well received.
Apparently, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
See, congrats.
Thank you.
Just for fun, what do you guys think the letterbox score was? Out of
3.5.
5 to 1 decimal point. 3.5. Okay, Karissa, or no, CJ.
If that's hot, 3.8.
Karissa was dead on the money. 3.5.
Yeah, I think that you could guess 3.5 for almost any movie, and you're going to be almost spot on. That's what
Yeah,
I've learned
yeah.
from listening to this show, is that most of them fall right around 3.5.
Just average.
And I do think that
pretty close.
the critics might like it more than like an audience, like a true audience score, for the reasons we've already discussed. But I loved this movie. I'm not going to get to my rating yet. I did like it. I just was let down a little bit. That was why I expected it to be lower.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can get your rating because it's time for ratings.
Estimating, we know you've been waiting, so now it's time to hear our ratings.
Chris, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate Longlegs for you?
For me, I would give Longlegs a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
It is a good movie. It is not a horror movie. It just isn't. And that doesn't make it bad, but I was led to believe that it would be a horror movie. So 7 out of 10 for other reasons as well that I'm going to get to in a moment because they're a little spoilery, but I'll hold that thought.
Okay.
So you should probably go next since you watched it on 1.5 speed or whatever.
I did not watch movies at 1.5 speed. I will say
at
that.
at 2 times speed, right?
Yeah,
Two-
fast.
2x.
Yeah, faster.
I listen to podcasts at 1.5 or 1.6, but not movies. For me, yeah, not my cup of tea. Don't like being scared. Big old coward. But I think like it objectively is, I think, a good movie in that like it keeps it suspenseful. There's not really a slow part. You just are, or I was on edge pretty much the entire time. Because, like I said, that agent being shot is within like minutes of the movie. So you're like, oh shit, we're already in it. Okay, let's go. Nic Cage kills as always. He's the best, even though he's only in the movie, I think, for like 5 minutes
Yeah.
total, probably,
Yeah.
or something. Maybe like a 6.4.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Ken.
All right. For me, yeah. So when I left the theater, when I watched it, I've only watched it the one time as well. When I left the theater, I genuinely didn't know how I felt about it. probably because I was expecting one thing and got something else, and the thing I got was weird. So I didn't know what to think of it.
Yeah.
I wanted more. I know that. I
Yeah.
wanted more, especially out of the ending, but I do like the ending. I just wanted to see more of it, I think. So yeah, I still not totally sure how I feel about this. I like it a lot. I think it's a cool movie. I just wanted it to be something else, I think. For that reason, I'm going to give it a 6.9.
Beautiful.
under.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
I want to give it higher. I just, I know how I felt in the moment, and without having rewatched it, I can't give it something too different. So
Yep.
This is also for me not watching a lot of these movies where you can just kind of be like, "What's the devil?" And you're like, "Oh, okay, I guess that explains." Like you don't
just-
really have
yeah.
to have like sound logic or stuff, which like usually that's fine. You're like, "Well, it's the devil doing it." It's like,
You
"Oh, okay, I guess."
hit the nail on the head. That is why I was disappointed. They were like, "Well, it's
Yeah.
the devil."
Yeah, you're like
I was like,
"Oh,
"No, it
Okay,
can't.
okay.
No, it can't just be the devil. Like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about? The devil?"
okay. So hang tight before we get full spoilers. CJ, where can people find us?
You can follow us on all the things at Overtalking Pod. Call or text us the show at USACat1591. Go to our website, overtalkingpod.party, or email us at overtalkingpod@gmail.com, and head on over to magicmind.com/overtalkingpod20.
That's right. That's the best way to support the show. And oh no, they're here. They're a little confused though. They're like poking their head in. If like, is it time? Should I do it now? Yes. Okay. They're here to remind you if you'd like the show, please go on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and rate and review where applicable. Reviews would help people find this podcast. Also, we spend no money in advertising. If you like yourself, tell a friend, spread the word. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Spoiler time.
Spoiler time. Oh my gosh. The devil did it. I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it.
They even
so
say at one
upset.
point that like they're explaining Nic Cage's role, and they literally use the word magic. Is like,
Yeah.
and then he adds his magic
Yeah, he's
to
just
these
magic.
dolls, and then the
And
dolls
they don't
take over
explain it.
people.
They don't really explain it at all.
No.
And then there's these weird metal balls that have black devil smoke in it, I guess, and they control people somehow.
I was so mad. I was like, that can't be it. That just
Yeah.
absolutely can't be it. I mean, I would have been cool with like, okay, they take the dolls and they do some sort of weird ritual where now they're enchanted dolls and they're connected to the no, they're like they just got the devil in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're-
no explanation at all.
Devil's
There's just a
in there.
dude
Other-
in his basement making dolls, and that somehow is connected to the people that they give it to.
You get the rough mechanics of the completed product, and that's it.
Yeah.
They literally give us like an hour or more
More, I think.
of suspense, and you're invested. I have to say, I thought it was a little slow. CJ, I know you said that you thought it was well paced.
Oh,
and that you were on the
I thought
edge of your
I was
seat.
falling asleep
Yeah.
at one point.
I was literally so
Literally.
bored. I was like, this is so slow. I know that that's because I consume a lot of horror content, because Steve was like, I was on the edge of my seat. And I was like, I was on the edge of a nap, like literally.
Yeah.
And I'm like waiting. I'm like, okay, they have to be building to something. They're going slow. It must be intentional. And then literally one of the characters has a flashback and says, here's what happened.
Yeah.
And explains that it's just
Yeah.
the fucking devil. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is a joke. This can't be real. This can't be it. And it was. That was it. Devil was
Now,
there.
having said that, when they come back and they like act out what they've been doing all these
Sure.
times due to the murders, I thought that was a genuinely scary scene.
Yes.
Because it puts the people who we've been watching in the hot seat and they become possessed.
Yes.
And, killing people. That's scary.
Yes.
But yeah, the kind of like weird 5 minutes of them explaining what's been going on the whole time it's very strange.
So they find a doll and like bring it to the FBI office, and this like scientist mortician guy is like taking it apart, and he's like, there's no matter in this metal ball that's being used as the brain of the doll, but check this out. And he holds up an ultrasound and it starts making like weird noises and stuff. It's like, Man, that means there's something in there. What do you mean there's nothing in there? You just proved that there's probably something in there.
But why was he doing an autopsy on a doll?
Yeah, that was weird too.
No.
That doesn't
Admiring
make any
the craftsmanship
sense.
of the two.
It doesn't
Look, it's
make
1995.
sense.
This is when they did doll autopsies.
Yeah.
And then we finally see Nic Cage, and of course he's very scary. Of course he is. He's very effective in this role, but he's just like, devil's in me.
He's just
sings a
kind of
little
acting
song.
weird, and then he kills himself. And that scene was unsettling.
Of course it was.
But as we said earlier, he gets a big headache by smashing his head against the table and killing himself. That's what we meant.
Yeah.
Big ol' headache.
Yeah.
I did have a reaction of like, this movie has parts. It says on screen, part 1, part 2, part 3. So that part, it was interesting in my opinion, because again, don't watch a lot of these. He kills himself, and then it says like part 3, and you're like, oh shit, okay, there's still like more to this. I guess that's good, because that would have been a terrible ending if they'd like catch the guy and he kills himself and then credits. That would have been awful.
Yeah.
And again, I don't watch a lot of these. The twist where it is her mom as the accomplice, like the main characters, I did not see coming. And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming either. I just thought it was kind of boring. I was like, oh, he's been living in your basement the whole time? He's Mr. Downstairs? We can't stop joking about Mr. Downstairs. That's such a funny and stupid name, and it's not scary at all.
Yeah.
Meg and I keep joking about the song that Nicolas Cage sings. Not once, not twice, but as many times as I like. Oh, so
It's good. That's
so
good.
weird.
That's a creepy scene too. Like, he's singing that in the car, right? When he's driving.
I think.
Is that when he's
remember when he
singing
does
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's obviously very scary when he's on, on screen, but he's not really on screen that much. And then he offs himself. So
Yeah.
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 That's where, I can't, I don't really love the just like, the devil, that's your explanation.
It was
Like,
really
that seems
disappointing for
cheap.
me. It was, it was a cop out. I was like, you could have done something so much more interesting with this and this character who is very scary and very effective, but instead you just made him possessed by the devil, and that was disappointing.
Yeah.
I don't even have a problem with it being the devil. I just wanted to see more of it.
Yeah.
Like, that can be scary.
Of course.
It being the devil can be scary. Hell, even these possessed dolls can be scary.
Yep.
But I want to see them getting imbued with the devil, and I want the devil to be there, and I want the devil to be fucking shit up and like pulling the strings behind Nicolas Cage or something. Like, that would be scary too. But instead, I get like a millisecond of a shot of the devil, and then that's it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I love demonic shit. Like, I'm constantly watching demon movies, but
We hail Satan here.
Listen, I hail Satan every day, but it was he needed to be more of a character if he was the catalyst for all of this, and he was not.
Yeah.
Or she.
Yeah. They were supposed to be the fifth character of the movie, and we barely got to see them.
Exactly. You get it. But overall, I liked it. I wanted more, but I liked it. So it's still a recommend from me.
It's still a very well done movie.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's visually very compelling. So.
Yeah. Very cool shots and stuff.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Karissa, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Quick remind people where they can find you.
Yes. You can find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is @Risscon, RISSCONW, the word double and the word you. That is where I'll be sharing all of my Horror Corner posts. You can also follow me on Substack. So looking forward to all of your little comments on my little posts so that I can tell you about all my little thoughts on my little horror movies.
Love it. Check it out, folks. It's a good read.
Yes.
Today, as of today, which is, I will not say the date to keep this evergreen, but following today's recording, you can find my latest post, which is about pool demons, if you're interested in pool demons.
Huh. Interesting. Also, I realize I probably should have done this earlier, but I have something to plug. By the time this airs, this upcoming Friday, September 6th, if you're listening to this later, I will have put out another new song.
Woo!
Hey.
So head on over to Eddie Wolfram. That's Eddie, EDDY, Wolfram, like the animals, .bandcamp.com, and check it out.
I'll be checking it out.
Hell yeah. Me too. Well, Karissa, thank you. We'll see you in October.
Can't wait.
And as we always say at the end of every episode, not once, not twice,
3 times, lady.
Bye.
Bye.
This episode of the Overtalking Podcast was produced by Ken and CJ, edited by CJ. This week's special guest was Karissa. And special thanks to Magic Mind for sponsoring this podcast. You can help support the show by going to magicmind.com/overtalkingpod20. The link is in the show notes. Music by Justin Peters. Logo by Nate Richards. Check out Nate's work on Instagram at Nate Richards Designs.